Welcome back. It's a new day, it's a new video. I'm back to filming at work. Today we are on sorting out all of this mess in here. I'll zoom you in a minute, but we are a bit about this property. So a good customer and family friend I've done loads of work for over the years, and they're buying, one of their family members is buying this property. So we've got painting decorators in, reno in the whole house. We've got me coming in to do a whole new fuse board, supply to the garage, testing it all, making sure it's all honky-dory. My mate, who's a plumber, changing all the rads and doing a few little bits and bobs. It's already had a new boiler. I've got to decommission potentially this alarm system and loads of other bits and bobs, but it's pretty much sorting out all of this mess, adding loads of new double sockets, a few single to doubles conversions. So I'll be running through how I do that as an electrician. So it's a few days of plodding here, and I'm going to film all of that. So you've got the treat of seeing this ugly face again, doing some electrical work. But let's bring you in and have a look at this monstrosity. So this is the absolute monstrosity we're greeted with. So you can see, as you got main cut out of that, into your meter, into some Henleys. Why on earth someone's used white as neutral and brown obviously is the lives. Like brown, yeah, that's fine, but the white, it's a bit random. Why wouldn't you get a blue one? They're Proteus ones as well, so they're fairly new. And then we've got this horrible looking Europa board, which is screwed back. So let's have a look under there. We've got bathroom radial, so probably a little towel rail heater. Bathroom lights, kitchen hall OBL, something new. I'll let you lot see if you can decipher whatever that says. Looks like I've written on there. And then we've got two old Wilex boards, obviously 3036 rewirables. A lovely old doorbell feed there, and then up at the top we're working with bathroom shower on a plug labelled up, bathroom mirror fuse spur, bathroom fan isolator, and then what's this one we've got up here, hob extractor. So it's just a bit random. And then also down here as well we've got outside lights, and then we've got this fantastic looking torch. This is definitely on Unilights level, not. So let's throw that in the bin, get a Unilight out, and start deciphering all this. All I've bought in is a camera gear, my velocity testing bag with my muck guard, shoe protectors, but I'm not going to be needing them at this property as the painters have already been in and made an absolute mess of the job. But everything's getting replaced, so that's not a problem. But yeah, got my testing bag in with my tester because we're going to be testing this property today and checking the gas, water bonding. The only thing I need to get is my earth fly lead. So straight off the back, let's just have a little look and take these fuse board lids off and see what we're working with. So obviously we've seen that one, what that one does, but these Wilex boards unscrew on the front like that. And then, oh lovely, so we've got 3 circuits, these are 3-way boards. We've got one missing, but we've got a 5 amp, a 15 amp, and it's labelled up as lights, house, cons, front, bed. So house, conservatory, front bed, front and the bed, so that's probably sockets. So you've got the 15 amp one for them, and then the lights. So we'll figure out in a minute what that actually does. And then let's have a look on this one here. So this has got 1 circuit in use, and we've got bedroom, or so that's that way. So we've got, it looks like lounge, but they've completely spelled it wrong, so I'm not too sure. Yeah, so we've actually got 3 circuits there. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 circuits here, but you've got 3 fuse boards. So that's fantastic. So the overall plan here is to wipe out all of this and pretty much just merge it all into one fuse board, RCBO protected with SPD, so everything's up to date and fine for the next 30 years. So let's take these fuse board lids off and see what we're working with. Yes, they're still on, but in my eyes, if you're a competent electrician, you can't take a fuse board lid off, then you're not very competent, are you? So that's off, and straight away, it's new colours, so that's a good sign. We've got some newer looking twin and earth up the top corner there, so I presume that's what these all of these circuits here are. We may be able to repurpose this fuse board here, this Europa one, into the garage at this property as we can run a bigger armoured cable across to the garage and then just repurpose this here. Obviously it is type AC RCD, so I would pick up a new type A Europa RCD, and then obviously then it's repurposed or reuse this, because it is a metal enclosure, it's fairly new, and it would be a waste of money to throw it in the bin and then buy a whole new consumer unit. So say like a Navitas or a Fuseboards board I'm putting in here, it'd be a waste of money to buy one of those, a small way one, and put that in the garage as well, when you can just reuse this one. So that's something we're gonna do. But straight away, so we've got a 32 amp, a 6 and a 16. So kitchen hall and OBL is on a 32 amp, and that looks like a ring main. Then we've got two 1mm in the 6 amp, so that'll be lighting for, I suspect, the kitchen and the bathroom, because they've already been renovated. And then we've got a 16 amp, which was labelled up as the bathroom radial, so it's going to be like a heater or a towel rail, something like that. So that's that one. Not too bad. It's got grommets on it, apart from, has it got a grommet on that? Yeah, so it has got grommets on all of it. So that's not too bad from an EICR's perspective. But let's move on to these Wilex boards. So these old 3036 boards, obviously rewirable fuses, which we'll cover in a minute, which are mega old. So I'm gonna have to actually pull those fuses off. So obviously turn off the load. So I've turned that off, and straight away the lights have gone off. And then you wanna pull these fuses here, so you can actually get the front cover off. Right, so that's off now. So that one's fairly neat as well. It's not too messy for a 3036 board. I'll zoom you in a minute, but what I will just show you is in here. So this is the actual 3036 fuse. So in that tiny little gap there where the slot is, there is a bit of rewirable fuse, so wire, and that is actually what would blow if there was a short circuit. And obviously they are colour coded, so you've got the white as 5 amp, you've got the blue, which is your common 15 amp for your radials, and then your red for your 32s. So it's a good colour indicator, but we're actually gonna push these back in just temporarily, just for the lights, not the sockets. So this fuse board's still off. The other thing to note as well with these fuse boards, see how this modern one, it's got a buzz bar cover on there, which is another added safety protection from touching it or arcing out onto the metal. These old ones are plastic, and the buzz bar is straight away there, visible for you to touch. I'll just zoom in and you can see that a little bit better. So you can see there straight away, compared to the one next to it, the difference. But I'll just put this, whilst the load's still off, put that back in, and then actually turn that back on, just so we've got some lights again, so we can see what we're doing. So that's the third one off. As you can see up here, there is 2 circuits into that. So a bit randomly, if I got my tippy toes, we've got a 6mm wired in and the 2.5 wired in on a 15 amp. So technically there's nothing really wrong with that, but it just seems a bit random off 6mm wired in on a 15 amp. But I presume the old cooker isolator socket has been turned into just a socket, not the cooker ISO. So hopefully that's the case, but we'll have a look and decipher all of this here. So we're going to have 9 circuits from what's here, and then I'm possibly going to be adding 3 extra circuits here. So obviously you've got your 12 circuits. So ideally straight away we're looking at like a 14-way, if not a little bit bigger here, to leave a couple spare ways for potentially solar or car chargers or air source heat pumps, just like future things that could happen. So for this price difference between the boards, new boards nowadays, you're better off just putting a couple of extra spare ways when you're not space restricted, which obviously we're clearly not here. My new big fuse board would be the size of half of what's here, so it'd be like that. Whereas here we've just got it all spread out. My doorbell will be converted all into like a dim rail slot one in the fuse board. So it should be a real nice project this, hence I'm filming it and I'm not on a restricted time frame. Whereas recently I've just been smashing out jobs, keeping loads of customers happy, and obviously ultimately you guys take that toll of not having the videos. I've got plenty of Instagram footage or photos for before and afters of work, just to keep the business side of things ticking along, but long form footage has really suffered recently, which it's one of them. It's going to when you're really busy at the end of the day. So I'll just give you a close-up of this whole cupboard and then we'll move on to the rest of the property. So that's the Europa board and that's the way it's wired. Obviously this is all getting changed, so don't worry too much. This is the first Wilex board and how it's all wired up. And then this is the second one there. And obviously there's already signs of arcing and sparking out of where it's blown the fuse wire on that middle one there. And then we've got obviously cables here just wrapped together, so we need to check they're not live. Doorbell transformer is getting moved, and then obviously all that lot at the top there. And then down here we've got an alarm box, so I think the customer's on about getting rid of this, and then we're actually going to be potentially fitting a Ring doorbell one, as I've recently fitted a few of them and they're really good, user friendly, and it's just nice and simple, to be fair. So I'll just quickly run you around the property so you know what we're working with. So currently in this room here, the hall, there's already a new double socket there, a new double socket. When I say new, I'm on about the faces, so they don't really need updating. So this room here is fine. The bathroom here is lovely, nothing needs changing in here. The spots are all new, the fan is new, so that is lovely, nice and bright, looks nice to be fair. So the only thing is we'll have a quick look on how there's a radial circuit to power some stuff in here, considering it's on a 16 amp. So obviously we've got the power shower electrics there, which was on a plug I believe, and then apart from that there's no shaver socket here, there's electric mirror, but that's typically off the lights, so it'll be a bit of an investigation really of what that radial circuit's doing. Into the kitchen. So it's all been fairly newly done. We've got all new fronts, obviously we're going to have to check. Extractor, a newer oven, straight away you can normally tell that's on a plug top, I would presume, because it's fairly new, Howdensy looking stuff. And then here we've got a boiler in there, we've got a few other bits and bobs in here, so let's just check the boiler, see what the bonding's like, check if we've got cross bonding, check if we've got gas bonding, water bonding. Let's have a look under here if the water stop tap's in here, which straight away, as soon as I've opened it, I've seen that. So that's a good indicator. That's an electric stop tap, that is. And then underneath there, we've got two cables there. So it looks like it might be a continuous bonding. So obviously it goes to the one, and then without it being cut, it goes to the next one. Someone's done a lovely job here and labelled it up outside tap, right at the back there. And then down there, mains water, washer, dishwasher on the socket. So straight away, when you see things like that, it fills you with a bit of confidence for the rest of the property. Other things to be noting, straight away, as soon as you see metal fronts like that, checking that they're earthed, checking that they are suitable for class 1 fittings, which they obviously are. We've been round and we've marked up where the customer wants all the sockets. So a double socket there. The only downside we've got is you can't go straight up. It's a bungalow, this property, so we can't go straight up into the loft space because obviously we've got the glass here and obviously the architraves around the windows. So we'll have to use horizontal zones. So we'll have to go across and then put another socket there and go straight up, or obviously we've got the socket there, so horizontally you're coming all the way across, so you're kind of within zones there. But we have got one the other side of the wall here, and then we've got a double socket over in that corner there. We've got some single to double conversions to do on this property, so single to double keeping the existing wiring, same again over there. We've got a pendant to swap and another pendant to swap. We've got these old battery smoke alarms, which are no use to man nor dog, so they're going to get thrown in the bin, and we're putting some ACO compliant smoke alarms in, obviously all interlinked. We've got all new front accessories going everywhere, so switches, sockets, everything's getting updated. We are getting rid of the majority of the aerial points, because who has aerial points nowadays? We're in 2024, not 2004. We've got double socket that side of the bed. We've got a bit of a random switch that side of the bed. Looks like a 20 amp isolator switch, or it's a light switch, but I'm yet to start testing, so we'll figure out what that does. We've got a new double socket going in there, other side of the bed, and then we've got another one going in here, which is the other side of the wall for that. So obviously we'd have to come across the one side of the wall and then come through to that one. Just depends which way it's going to work. And then carrying on through the property, we've got that double socket there, so this is an interesting one. So the customer, this is straight away what every customer's presume you can just do, which I get from their perspective of not understanding electrical in a sense, but then obviously I've had to like tell them, look, I can't just do this. So they want that moving across to there and lower, so like normal height just around there, which in their head you can just pick it up, joint it with a bit more cable and take it down there. But sadly you can't, because obviously zonings. If I move that socket to there and put a cable like that across or that across, then that run all the way up there is not in zone. So there's no way, if you go to put a photo on that wall or a picture or paneling or anything and nail through it, obviously you don't know there's a socket there or cable. So if you put the socket there and run the cables directly up or across, then you know it's there. And it's not even like I can just cap that off, because what some people would say is, oh, could you not just cap that off then and then come from that new socket just to cross through the wall and put it there where they want it? But then same again, you can't just cap that off and just leave them cables in the wall, because you're then down to the same perspective. So it's just thinking about things and planning things from a homeowner's point of view if you're thinking about doing things like that. We've got a double socket down there. We've got a fire point going in, so an isolation point just this side of the wall. Then we've got TV unit, accessories and all that stuff going here, so we need quite a lot of sockets. They want 4 double sockets, so 3 more doubles to go in there. Conservatory, we've got changing some fronts, changed a couple of lights, but nothing new or extravagant going on in there. In here, the back room, we've got, originally I want to say get rid of that single socket, get rid of the aerial socket, as I presume they're just going to use that double socket there. But like I was explaining, aerial, yeah, no zones, don't really matter. It's not going to be live, it's not dangerous to anyone. Just cut it off and plaster that one up. So that's not an issue. But the single socket, same again, I suspect it's either going to be fed from round to that, or it's going to be fed up the wall. So you can't just cap it off nice and easy, sadly. So I said, we'll swap that to a single front. So then it's just nice and new. And then with that being a nice new double front as well, it'll all just blend in. You ain't even going to notice it. And ultimately you can never have enough sockets in corners of rooms. So we've got a double there and a double going in there, because that's like a bed area. So that's it in this room, apart from also changing the light fitting as to a new pendant, as this is a bit old and straight away it looks like it's wide with bell wire. So yeah, not good. I'm aware I'm probably waffling, however I am trying to show you the whole job throughout, because this is going to be a bit of a series. So day one is just me here showing you guys what I'm doing, showing a bit about things to look out for. I'm trying to make my videos, as I always do, a bit more talkative and informative rather than, oh, I've done it. Like, sometimes you do have to do that when you're on a time frame, but here I'm not on a massive time frame. So you can see on how the project plans out, not only from my perspective, but with the painters, the plumbers, on how a project all ticks through nice and smooth. So that's the property. The only other thing we have got to sort out is the garage. So I'll run you outside now, and then that's the whole job shown to you guys, and then we can get cracking. We've got an outside light there that needs replacing because the bulb isn't even in. Lovely. And then all the way down here, we've got this lovely bulkhead light fitting there. I'll try not to blind with the sun. So that needs swapping if it still actually works. Soffits here potentially are going to be asbestos. I'm not going to be touching them or going anywhere near them. So don't even comment that below, because I already know I'm not going to be licking it, don't worry. The only other thing we can see, which is going to get cut off from here, and I'm not going to touch it in the soffit, is that twin and earth cable there, as it's just twin and earth ran straight across that pillar into the garage to feed the garage. We've got that lovely looking outside light, which has great protection, IP ingress protection. Not, the glass is all smashed. And then this door here, just unlocked it, is the electrics in here. So we've got a rusty corroded old bulkhead light fitting, LED tube light fitting, sorry. We've got some double sockets there. We've got an abundance of switches here. Let's see if these actually still turn on. Oh, yeah, it's on. And that's all fed off that twin and earth coming through the wall up in that corner. So it's going to be an armoured cable ran in. There's new services running here, so like there's going to be an armoured cable coming in, there's going to be water in here, and it's going to be like a nice utility area with a sink, dishwasher, washing machine, sorry, and a few other appliances. So it's going to be a small little area, but I think we'll put that Europa board back in here, make use of like this bit of a studded out bit here, put the Europa board sat in there, armoured cable in, come out to a few double sockets, round to the front of the property now. So you can see we've got gas coming in, and it comes down from here. We've got that gas bonding cable, because the kitchen's the other side of here, so I presume it's continuous. And then we've got that lovely looking clamp there, which looks like one's already been cut off, but we'll have to test all this and redo it. My mate is a plumber, so I'll be robbing some, I can't remember what you call it, emery cloth, whatever it is, to clean up this pipe, and obviously do it within the 300 or 350, whatever it is, and then that's your gas meter. So check all this lot out, make sure it tests out all right. Other things to note, so straight away putting a new fuse board in. I said about potential for a alarm system, so we're putting like a new fuse spur in there, ready for if they do want it with the keypad. And then we've got future here, which is nice, like planning. So straight away if you're on a car charger, the carport is literally here. So it would just be a case of drilling out the fuse board and then put an electric car charger point on this wall. So it's great when they have a fuse board that's actually accessible and you can get to the outside nice and easy. You haven't got like lift floorboards or it's under the stairs or something horrible. So I'm excited to pull this one all apart and get cracking really. I might try and fit a Navitas fuse board here. I've not fitted one of those, obviously fitted loads of the Verso ones, but obviously Navitas is the new rebranded version. So I would hopefully like to fit one of those here. If not, it would be a fuse box, but we'll just see. I've set up my little extendable £20 special stool, which I set up like this, which is job's a good one, so I can stand on that. I've got my velocity bag out ready with all the necessary tools in there, tester, link lead. We've got a new little link lead which we can try out, which is the IR link lead from Super Rod. It's a new little invention similar to the R1, R2 link lead, but it just allows you to test certain breakers, so like RCBOs, when doing IR without taking out the conductors, so it could save you a bit of time. So we won't really be trying that here because there's no RCBOs and they're all old 3036 rewirables, but when we come to reconfirm all our tests on the new fuse board, we can give it a go there. Let's get testing. I'm going to pull apart this first fuse board here. I'm going to take, so basically I'm going to leave everything on. The only thing I'm going to turn off to start with is that breaker there with the 6mm and a 2.5 in. I presume it's going to do the kitchen, and then we'll have a look and see what it does. So I've done some investigation on that first circuit up there. The board is currently off and that circuit is completely dead. I've been around the whole property, pulled everything apart and figured out exactly what does what. The only place I haven't checked yet to see if it powers anything is in the loft, but I'm getting up there in a second. But whilst it's all still fresh in my head, I thought I'd run through with you guys. So the overall conclusion after going around every accessory is that that circuit only powers randomly that socket there and one in this bedroom, which is that one over there. They're the only two and they're spread out completely randomly. So this is obviously the importance of testing every single socket, and then I'll show you the second importance of pulling apart a kitchen to make sure you are finding every single accessory. So underneath here, like suspected, like I said previously, that is obviously just an igniter for a gas hob, so it'll be on a plug top, and then straight away looking at that to me is screaming out not a 6mm oven, that is just a plug top oven because it's a single oven. And then straight away under here we're greeted with, it says oven and hob on a double socket there. Done pretty neat to be fair, all labelled with a Brother label printer by the looks of it. So I have got a sneaky suspicion me and Nick might have been here before for something else at this property, but I can't remember what for the life of me, so I'm going to ring him in a minute. And then also, underneath this one, we've got 6mm feed, twin plus earth for future hob. Other end is in the meter cupboard. So that is pretty handy to be fair. So that explains why, obviously I've not checked behind there yet, but it obviously is going to be. That explains that 6mm coiled up underneath the plinths. So that's ready for obviously if they needed a 6mm. So when I do on my new board, I'll run all of that up into the board and leave it unwired. So then if they do want a 6mm oven or a 6mm hob, it's ready for them in the future. Next protocol, obviously I've figured out every accessory that is not on that circuit. So now I'm going to run around with this and undo those, every single accessory, because they're all getting changed, just so it makes testing easier. But then also have a look on there on what cable size is in that and what cable is in the other one. Just grab me 425 Unilight, get that set up. There we go. Right, and then into the abundance of darkness we go. There is a light up here, but it's trash. So I'll probably recommend, so you can see what it's like up here. Got that horrible light fitting, but it's not lighting up anywhere in the U's, doesn't light up over here. So then you bring your Unilight in here, and this little torch, nice and bright, folds up in your pocket. It's got different modes. So you got the main one on the back, less bright, and then you got your inspection light. It's got a magnet on the bottom, so you can stick it to things. So it's a good little pocket torch light, and I'm working my way through these inspection lights to find out what I like best. Loads of cables coming up over there where the fuse board is, all clipped-ish. Some here are layover pipes, which ain't ideal, so I'll rejig them a little bit. But it's not too bad, to be fair. Not too bad, not too bad. Not too shabby, considering the age of the property. We've got over there, they're not actually singles. They are kind of, they're like double insulated singles. It's a bit of a weird area they are. Here we've got the shower electric pump, which is obviously fed off the mains, and it's got electric in it. So that there is just on a plug. I followed that black cable all the way around, goes to that power brick, which is over there. And then it goes down into the cupboard where it's plugged in. I've just bumped up the ISO so you can see a bit better in here. With the Unilight on as well. Obviously if you move the Unilight out, you can't see as well. That just brings it right up. So down there, I don't know how well you can see, let me zoom you in a bit. So down over there, there's a downlight, and it actually is terminated correctly for once. So there's no grey out of the enclosure. It's even taped on, so that is like taped together, like the two twin earths going in that feed in and feed out. So that is a-okay. The fan, well, it's one of them cheap little nasty fans, and the ducting, well, yeah, look at that. So if I go down level to it, you can see that ain't going to be great, but it's one of them really. Do you have it so the ducting goes under that beam and then straight into the grill, or would you go over like that, or would you prop it up? So we'll have a think with the other lads and see what's best there. So that's that circuit diagnosed with the two individual circuits on the one breaker as such. So I'll separate them now and test each socket separately. So that socket down there and the one in the room in there. Get all the necessary results, so do all the dead tests. You've got your R1, R2 to start with, your insulation resistance, and then obviously your ZS, and then obviously in the future do trip times when it's got an RCBO on it. Once that's done, then I'm going to move and carry on that exact same process on all the other circuits, which obviously when you get to a circuit, it's normally like lighting circuits, it gets a bit more difficult, or say some socket circuits when you've got like one fuse spur there, one there, one there, one there, and one on the other wall. So hopefully they're all on the same circuit, and I can just separate all of them out onto their own circuit. That circuit is all tested and currently still off. So now obviously still being careful, because obviously the bottom bit is live, that buzz bar, and I haven't got a way of isolating it technically at the minute, because it's just live straight from the Henley box into the board. So I mean, I've got a way of isolating the buzz bar, but not the meter tail, so just obviously be wary. But I'm just going to show how you take apart a 3036 board as some apprentices, because I know that's a lot of my audience might not know that. So double check it's off. Obviously you can see straight away there, look how much this fuse board is moving off the wall. So look, you can see the whole fuse board moving. So the screws are loose, it's not securely fixed back. That's another thing to note if you're doing in the ICR, which we kind of are here. I'm like getting an understanding of the electrical installation and coding it in my head of what needs fixing. But then once I've fitted this new board, I'm going to be issuing an EIC, so an install certificate, which then ultimately trumps an EICR certificate. Or I probably will give an EICR and an EIC certificate, because I'm testing the whole circuit, I'm testing the bonding, gas and water, I'm testing everything else. So, and it's for a family friend, so why wouldn't I give them a certificate? So then in 4 years time they decide to sell, and then they've still got a year validation on their certificate, then they're covered by a 10-year EIC for the new fuse board, and they're also covered for a 5-year or change of tenant EICR. So let's take this out, we don't need that anymore. Get rid of him. So then you're left with your fuse holder or fuse carrier. So then you undo this little screw here. So obviously keeping your fingers away and undoing that. And then you want to grab it and pull it out a little bit and undo it a bit more. So now that's off, then we're greeted with the bottom bit, which is obviously live, which is your buzz bar if that was in the on position. And then the top bit, so that's where the cables get wired in, and then they can join using the fuse wire, which obviously pushes in and connects when you push this in, which is the fuse wire in between, which protects your circuit. Let's take this apart and do an R1, R2 and clarify that each socket is definitely on separate wiring, even though they are 2 cables here, but let's just confirm that. So let's undo that and pull out the 2.5 one. And then let's pull out the 6mm one, or is it 4mm? I think it might be 4mm to be fair. I'm a bit undecided here because it's old colours. So let's pull that out. And as you can see there, it's literally got one little strand of copper of the 6mm being used. They've cut all the others off. So in normal English, they've given it a haircut, which is a big no-no. So that's a bit naughty. Oh, you can see my ugly muggins again. So this is what we're going to be using to do the R1, R2 test. I've pulled out all the circuits there above me, as you can see. So these are what I first started using when I was an apprentice with Nick. Q-Tech leads. So these are just literally jumper leads, just crocodile clip each side, minimal resistance, don't really affect your results. And then if you accidentally touch one on something and it may accidentally still be live and it fuses out and blows them up, which I'm sure I've never done, but if someone does do that, then you can make one of these out of it. So you end up with a crocodile clip on the one side and you can put a Wago on the other side, so then you can just put your conductor in there. So that's quite handy to always keep in your van, because there's always situations where you've got to make your own thing and adapt and overcome. And then we're on to the new devices, which ultimately is a lot better. So these are the Super Rod R1, R2 link leads, which were invented by Super Rod and another chap, I can't remember who invented them, but basically Super Rod sell them, and they are pretty decent to be fair. So you've got 2 crocodile clips there, and then they are nice and long, as you can see. And on the end here, you've got the 2 different bits. So you've got, they're magnetic as well, as you can see, they're sticking to each other. You've got a big fat one, easiest way and technical way of describing it, or you've got a thin skinny one, which is sometimes good for RCBOs. I think it's Schneider ones or something. The terminals are a bit funny, or it might be Electrician ones where they're a bit weird and you have to get teeny whiny little screwdriver and get it in there. But yeah, so you can use these, or here where I've pulled out all the cables, then I'm going to use my Q-Tech leads, because obviously they can't clamp onto that. So let's get the Q-Tech leads out. Let's link out the line conductor, as you would call it in college, but live and earth or CPC. So let's do that now. And most people, if you're doing a proper EICR, you want to get in and out and you're testing it thoroughly still, you would link them both out here, run around, test them both, and then come back. Whereas here, I want to test one at a time to confirm that they aren't connected somehow with a junction box upstairs as well. Because if you did wire them separately, when I come to put it on a new board, on each an RCBO for each one, then obviously you'd have a different neutral shared, like a different neutral imbalance, and it would just trip out. So what I'm going to do is do it the old-fashioned way, do one at a time. I'm under no time frame. I want to run through with you guys how I do it, as it makes the video in a bit more useful to some of you lads. So 2.5 to start with, the insulation has just slid off, so I'll slide that back on. So live and earth are now connected on the 2.5, which disappears up into the loft, which should feed the socket right down below us. This is what happens when you give an idiot a camera. You end up just zooming in on your eyes. Right, anyway, got the tester out. So here, It's upside down, I know, because the screen. MFT, I can't even remember what the writing says. MFT 1711 in calibration from the calibration centre in Stafford. Mega tester, nice and easy, none of this fancy X1 stuff with the fancy buttons, it just works. And Nick kindly gave me this, so Nick, if you're watching, still appreciate everything you've done for me, and especially giving me this tester, because it's a really good tester. So thanks for that. Plugged in the plug top tester, live and earth, in the back. Then we are going to use the plug top because it's a plug socket on each one. So then what you do is you put your Q-Tech other lead on the earth at the top. So let's put him on there, like so. And then you look, and it says obviously which is the live pin, but ultimately if you're an electrician, you should know which one's the live pin on a plug. So then as soon as you put that on, I've got the annoying buzzy sound, which customers love when you're testing their house on. So it's saying 0.08 there. So then if I want to zero that out, click it off. So then it just proves that is now nulled between live and earth on my equipment and my leads. So then you throw that back in your bag and let's go down there and test it. Then what you do is you be a typical electrician and moan about your back certain and the rest of it. You take out that socket pin that someone's annoyingly put in there in the way, plug in your socket tester, and we've got action. So that is now giving us our resistance between live and earth on that there. The only other little trick and tip, let me turn off that annoying buzzy sound. So the only little tip and trick I would say is straight away there, look, you see me moving that socket around, changes the resistance. So that could be the connections behind are a little bit loose. So I'll nip them up. And then another little trick also, so the reading we're getting now is 0.13. If I turn that switch on and off a few times on both of them, it's gone back up to 0.15. So that's actually probably the actual reading. I'll just check they're tight on the back and then we'll give a final reading for our result on that circuit. So sometimes there can be resistance built up in the actual accessory front, i.e. the switch. Sockets, they're not normally too bad. This is a click socket, so it's fairly new, but your old cooker switches that are covered in fat, grease, the rest of it, they are normally pretty bad. Or say your 45 amp shower pull cords, they're another one that's normally quite bad for that. Also, whilst we're here, let's get the badge in a bit and have a look at the new Velocity Rogue Heroes monkey on the back of my t-shirt. I don't know how well you've seen that, I just saw it in the viewfinder on the camera, but I was just taking the mic as well because get the badge in, lads. Another thing I'm just going to quickly run and check is that other socket in the next bedroom to confirm that they're not connected like I was saying a minute ago. So I'll go and try the R1 or 2 on that just to confirm it's not connected. So that's not connected at all whatsoever, so I'm happy with that. So now I'll carry on testing this exact same circuit. I'm writing all these results down on EasyCert, that's the software I'm using at the minute. It's good, I've used it when I was with Nick, so it's just easy, hence it's called EasyCert. So yeah, good software, using that at the minute to fill out certificates and that. So I'll start using that out, and then it also links in with Traderify. So how I booked in this job with my mate and other jobs, so I communicate with him, and then I also put the customer's details on my Traderify, so then they get the notifications of, oh, scheduled in for works this date. So it's all run smoothly, the customer knows when I'm coming and they are notified. So I'll talk to you a bit more about Traderify and how I've used it the past few months whilst I've been hectically busy, and how it's just made things smoother. But EasyCert links in with it, so what I do is I, at the end of a job, attach the EasyCert certificate by clicking share and then more, and then attaching it onto my Traderify invoice. So you click the Traderify logo and then it says, do you want to attach it to a quote, invoice, job, whatever. I always attach it to the invoice. So then you send it across to the customer and they've got your invoice ready to be paid and the certificate there and then. Obviously, some people don't like to send the certificate until the invoice is paid, which I understand. I have done it before. But obviously some people just send it straight across, which I do 9% of the time. So let's get testing and let's take this hoodie off because it is like 500 degrees in this bungalow. So now we've swapped over to the leads, same again, live and neutral, same exact principle, just zero the leads out, so cross clip them together. I'll put the sound on so you know I'm not lying. So same again, it's not zeroed because obviously I've changed leads. click the button, and now it's zeroed, saying 0.000. And then we'll go up there, carry out our IR tests. I'll start on 250 just to be on the safe side, and then I'll go to 500. Obviously, if everything's clear on 250, just to make sure, because sometimes when you use a bit more power, i.e. 500 volts, it can pick up certain different things. But most commonly in houses, you're picking it up on 250, to be fair. So what I've seen so far on this property isn't going to give off any faults, but we'll just double check. This is taking a lot longer on this first circuit, as I'm showing you what to do and how I do it. But in a minute, when I get flying, I'll just blast through all the circuits, and then I'll give you a catch up at the end on how the overall testing out. When doing IR, if you are an apprentice, is obviously make sure everything's disconnected, so there's no other, you're not going to send 250 or 500 volts down another circuit on accident. Easily done. Checking that you have got the right guards, so GS38 and all that. You're not putting them on the probes like this and giving yourself a shock. But generically, remove your link lead, because you don't want to short out live and earth, because otherwise you test it, you'll get a dead short. And then you just test in between all the different possible combinations as taught in college. Your live earth, live neutral, neutral earth, neutral live. Your 3 different combinations, doing it all that. I've probably missed one out saying it then. Someone's going to be typing away, oh, you should do it this way, you should do a global IR board. There's so many different ways of doing it. As long as you do it one way, you're doing it right. So quit commenting in the comments now, any of you little keyboard warriors. One feature I do like about this tester is, I'll just quickly show you. So on 250, press and hold, and then click the lock button. So now that is constant 250 going through it. And then it's showing 999, so it buzzes if it's clear. And then as soon as you join them together and there's a dead short, it stops. So let's go. So live and neutral, we're good. Live and earth, we're good. Neutral and live, neutral and earth, we're good. And then live and neutral, we're good. And earth and live, yeah. So we've gone through all the combinations. So I've ended up biting the bullet and pulling off this fuse board to access the cables behind. So what we've got is, we've got an old 2.5, I think it is actually 4mm here, or it's real old 2.5 that's super thick. So it's that circuit there, live and neutral there, and that earth there, not sleeved. That was in there, but I think that was an old cross bond or something. I've not cut that off yet, so I'm going to test it. But to access all that, I've had to pull this fuse board off. I've pulled out the socket for the front door, the one we've just tested, so that's ready to go in the new board. And now that whole fuse board is now redundant. You've just got live and neutral in, 25mm tails, and a 10mm earth. So that can all be ripped off now, out the Henleys and out the earth bar. And then that's one fuse board done, gone, and dusted. So then we're on to the second one, and we'll move on to smashing that one out. I won't be able to pull these two off, because obviously the lads want temporary power in here. This is the new Traderfy top. Nice little baggy fit. Traderfy T. Good little workwear top. But before we go any further with the video, obviously I mentioned before on how I've used Traderfy the past few months to improve my business and make it run smooth, as it's been chaos recently. But I'll just literally show a few different features now on features that I'm using predominantly, and I see other people predominantly using in their business to make their life easier. The main features are in the evenings, getting time back with the girlfriend, family, so you can actually do other things aside from wake up, go to work in the dark at the minute, come home from work in the dark, sit down, do paperwork, and then rinse and repeat. But obviously Traderfy, it cuts that amount of time down. You're sat at the desk doing your paperwork, so it really does help that. And smooth transitions with your customer, just accepting quotes. So you straight away notified, and then straight away you haven't got to communicate with the customer again via WhatsApp or anything like that. You know they want that job doing. So then straight away in my mind it's like, well, they just always want it done as soon as possible unless it's a big project. So then straight away then you just look at your calendar on Traderfy. You've got 3 days free in 3 weeks time for that job. Ping over them dates. They can either obviously accept them dates and say, yeah, that's fine, or put a little comment back saying, no, can't do that. And then obviously it just gets booked into your diary. So it's nice and easy, to be fair, and it just smooths things out. So if you do want to grab Traderfy, then you can grab it in the link below in the description, or or you can use code Adam30 to grab a little 30% discount off for the first 3 months. Or if you're just listening to this and you think it's literally just a spiel and I'm doing it because I'm getting paid and I don't use it, then that is completely not true. I've used it since when being with Nick as an apprentice, using it now to run my business. And if you don't believe in me, Nick, loads of people that use it and promote it, then you want to give it a go for yourself, then there's a free trial. I think it's 7 or 14-day trial, completely free, as you just sign up. If you like it, you can keep it and then probably roll onto a subscription, or if not, then you can cancel it, and you've not wasted any of your money, you've not wasted any of your time, you just tried something new, which ultimately in life, if you don't try new things, then you're not going to know what's better. So if you do want to try Tradeify, then don't forget to check them out in the description, or code Adam30 on their website. Just been to the van and got this lovely little arm egg set out. So let's open it up and have a look, see what's inside. So we've got certification of calibration, and it is a torque screwdriver and the VDE T-handle and a VDE screwdriver with all the different little attachments. So this is good. I use it for handy box or bigger stuff. So if you're doing like 35mm tails commercially or 25mm tails, they're just good, and it's got the good little Allen keys that are obviously VD rated, and you got your torque driver for when you do want to do things to the right torque. So let's use this. I love it to bits. So let's get this on them Proteus things and pull out them tails that we don't need. The only thing I don't like about this is someone who's an electrician with a camera wearing a beige Tradeify t-shirt accidentally spilled that whisker horrible gel stuffy silicone stuff everywhere in their van, and now it's on all their tools. So yeah, not fun. Not when you got nice new tools and it's covered in silicone. Let's disconnect these tails out of here. Obviously being mindful on the situation here. There's no isolator to turn it off, so you're fine touching the handling box here because it's after the meter. Anything after the meter obviously is we can touch. Before the meter, obviously you're not allowed to touch the main head or anything like that. I have done G39 training, so a lot of you thinking now, oh, you've not done this, you've not done that, you shouldn't be doing this. I've done G39 training, so I'm going to put on my rubber gloves and all the necessary PPE to disconnect this live. I'll be back in a minute. And there we go, as if by magic, the tails are now out, the power's back on, and what I'm going to do is disconnect, obviously this is all dead now, disconnect the meter tails and obviously keep them aside for my scrap cable bin. I did end up cutting a bit off to bend it all back behind the wooden boarding. So I'm going to keep this all in a pile, any scrap from this job. The customer obviously prior asking, I said any scrap waste or anything like that I'm fine to obviously keep. They don't want it themselves, so that's fine. Keep it in a tap pile in my green cable bin. I'm yet to get some green cable bin sacks rather than keeping it in a black rubble sack off Ed. So Ed, if you're watching this, you've not given me any yet, mate. I need some. But at least we're 1 fuse board down, 2 to go. But obviously, like I said, I can't cut them off today, but I can get rid of this one. But generically, this is how I like to split it down. Target a board at a time. I think if you're other electricians, you have to do it this way as well. Target a board at a time, a circuit at a time, work your way through. Obviously it is naturally a lot quicker than I'm doing it, but that's just because I'm filming it. And yeah, you just process of elimination, work your way around. As long as you're being competent and you're doing everything thorough, which obviously I always do, then you're going to do a good job. You're always going to have work, then you're not going to be worrying about short of work. So that's what I've done from the start, and keeping all my customers happy, and it's paid off so far. Hence I get jobs like this and I just get left alone to do my thing, as they say. Just come to rip it apart, oh, it's stabbing me in the back, and I thought I'd just quickly show you. So on here, they're like rubber jelly guards, so I wouldn't really trust it, but if you did slip, then you're not gonna get electric shock, supposedly. But to get them off, you literally, if you needed to put new tails into these or do work on it or whatever, then you can pop that off and then they just fly off. But when you're getting a ZE, sorry, at the board, obviously don't do that, because then trying to put that back on is a pain in the bum. So all you got to do is just put your probe at the top and you can see there's no jelly guard at the top there protecting it, so you can just put it straight on. And this is another thing why we're doing this today, checking that everything's sound. So if I put this on here now and go to loosen it off, the bottom one's already unscrewed, and then if I go like this, look, you can literally turn that with 2 fingers and it's already pretty much loose, so that will come out. So not good. And then let's have a look at the lives. So let's pop that jelly one off. Oh, don't want to come off today. Pop that off. That bottom one's already half unscrewed. So literally, look, 2 little fingers. Pops it. I'll probably be able to do this one with my pinky, I reckon. So literally, pinky and that finger, and I've popped it off. It was nipped up a little bit, but nowhere near tight enough for holding that in place, considering it's your main 25mm tails. That's that stripped out. That's ready for the bin, but you can see in there on how I was saying about be careful with that, and obviously be careful up here, be careful up there, be careful anywhere with these old boards. They are naff. So at least that's one more gone. We're quite a bit further along now, so everything's tested up there. I've ripped the one fuse board off because obviously it wasn't needed anymore. We've got the socket which does the front one by the front door. We've got the one which does the room in there, and then circuit wise we've got a lighting circuit that does the majority of the property, obviously the old wiring, so it's a mix of singles and all sorts. When I say singles, it's singles but it's not actually single insulated, it is double insulated, so it's one of them. It's a bit of a weird area. And then onto the other fuse board we've got a ring main for the kitchen. We've got a spur off the ring main which is here, which is that fuse spur for the hob extractor, so obviously someone's just forgot it and then put it in after, so that's fine. So I'll put that and some of the other circuits on these other fuse spurs in here, all on a circuit together on the new fuse board. With them we've got bathroom lights, which is bathroom mirror and the fan, bathroom fan, sorry, and the lights. And then we've got a 16 amp radial, which was the bathroom one, which does the bathroom shower on the plug up there, and the bathroom mirror, which is on a fuse spur up there, probably just downrated to a 3 amp, but I will be checking that. Apart from that, I've been busy. I've disconnected the garage supply because I was twin and earth, not UV rated, just slung across a bit of wood across the garage, so I've ripped all that off. Been round, ripped every single pendant off or fancy light fitting and put dangly pendants, just temporary lighting for the painters and decorators so they can crack on in the evenings if they don't get too drunk, because we know what painters and decorators are like. They tend to sniff the white spirits and miss spots when they're painting. But yeah, then I've done the gas and water bonding, tested that, hence I've got this contraption set up here, which is my Earth Wonder lead set up for R2 test, so that's all tested out fine. It's a continuous cable for the gas and water, which is completely fine as long as it tests out fine and there's no cuts in it, which there isn't, so that's good. Now I've been round and ran round every single accessory in this property apart from the kitchen and the bathroom. So the bathroom don't need touching, the kitchen doesn't need touching. I will take a few off just to check the connections, but I am just going to run around first with the R2 link lead whilst it's set up now, as they're all class 1 light fittings. Light fittings or downlights are class 1, the switches class 1, and then also the socket fronts are all class 1 metal fronts. So I'll run around in there. Literally, I'll give you an example now. So it's set up with the big Wonder lead, zeroed all out, and then as soon as I touch this on, it will show it's earthed. So I'll spin you around like this, where you can see me in there. So you should be able to see me now. And yes, I have got a chocolate bar in my hand. Priorities. Whilst running around outside testing things, I was in between eating my chocolate bar. So as soon as I touch this on now, it should start beeping, so it's earthed. So nothing on the front, but then try the pins. So commonly, a lot of these are screw fix ones. The actual face paint doesn't recognise it, but the terminal pins do, so that's showing that it's earthed. Sometimes it's because it's like a polished front, so if you scratch a little bit off, but if you go in a corner that you're never going to see, so like, and then press really hard, it does show through. But obviously, as long as you're getting it through the pins, then it's all connected. So this is a fairly new kitchen. I even think Nick might have been here to do some of this. I don't know why. You know when you get a gut feeling that you've been to a house before? So I'm sure me and Nick have been here before to have a look at something. Because it is the local village we're from. So I'm just firing around now while talking to you guys all the different accessories, making sure that there is earth there. So I'm happy there's earth everywhere. And then the other thing to do is, now I've checked externally for gas bonding, is check internally as well. So just on the gas pipe here. So straight away, push it on the gas pipe, you're getting a reading. So I'm happy with that, considering R2 readings. Another little tip and trick as well, if you are doing R2 readings, any metal light fittings, so like this one here, I don't know whether it's going to read it. Oh yeah, it does. So it gets a good reading. It's showing it's earthed. And that's it really. The other thing I have done here in this property is ripped off all of that shenanigans inside of there. So the alarm's gone, the fuse spur's gone, the key switch on the cupboard on the outside's gone, and obviously up there we've ripped all that lot out. Still doing a bit of testing, but we'll get that back together. We've got an outside light here. I've ripped the outside light off on the other side. We've got an outside light on the back. That's ready to be ripped off, but it is still going to be live, that cable, so I don't want to rip that one off yet. Whereas that cable is obviously just dead. We've got a socket circuit here, which is for the extractor hob, which I've pulled out temporarily because no one's living here. They don't need it on. The Unilight little torch here. The Unilight FLX 125 has been absolutely mint. As you can see up here, stuck to the fuse board, and it's like got a bendy end on it. So you can bend it wherever you need to get a bit of light in here. So that's pretty handy. And it just obviously has magnets, so it sticks on top of the board. Aside from that, I'll just run you around the property. So I've just put these dangly bulbs here, and I have left all the socket fronts off, ready to go. Don't scream and shout at me. It is, nobody's living here. They can't get access. The only people that have access is me, a plumber, and the painters. And the painters have requested that I leave them off. So if they decide to lick them and get electric shock, then that's what they want. But they still want power to them, so they can plug in their 200-year-old radio and probably bring a little toaster kettle and make their 11s as they normally do, because that's typical painters for you. My mate said as well, keep power on, so then obviously they can keep power to the fridge. And yeah, that's fine in my eyes. No one's here, there's no little kids here. There's no one coming here unless it's workmen, so that's fine. So that's pretty much wrapping up this video. There's not much more else I wanted to show. I didn't go super in depth, but I felt like I covered enough to create a decent video of showing something different in that little cupboard, of what you can find, what I'm doing on this whole project. So there's obviously things to look out for in the future. We've got a run armoured cable from here all the way down to the garage and wire up a whole new little garage setup. So if you are thinking about converting your garage into a bit of a utility garage, so you can have a couple sockets in there, a little fuse board and that, then obviously I'll be showcasing how I do that as an electrician. It's not a how-to, as I don't want to show people a DIY way of doing it. So I'm just showing of what you could expect from an electrician, so you know the quality of work you should be getting. Because I've had a lot of customers that like that recently from my videos who said, I've seen your workmanship, and obviously compared it to other stuff we've had done before. So that's pleasing to hear. And then other things to look out for in the coming future is some bigger extension projects, a few more cool little jobs, fancy outdoor lighting, and I've got a potential big job which would probably last a month on the cards. So whether or not that all comes off, I'm just weighing it up with trying to juggle big jobs and carry on ticking away at my normal little day-to-day jobs. So keeping everyone happy as normal, and gonna get back into the content. That is definitely a New Year's resolution, although I'm starting it now. So yeah, gonna be posting every day on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook and stuff like that, on shorts, and then hopefully back to the one a week on the main form content. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'm gonna eat up this chocolate bar and I'll leave you to go and watch something else. Cheers. Little PS, if you did get bored of me waffling and you want more actual slap bang, just me doing work POV style, then drop that in the comments, because I feel like an idiot talking to myself all the time, but I'm actually trying to be informative and not tell you a load of rubbish, actual useful things that might help people. So I am going to shut up now and eat my chocolate bar, but just put that in the comments below.